All resource for today, we're going to be going through learning about bankruptcy laws, okay? And Joy, bankruptcy doesn't mean you go to the bank and you're at a bank. Bankruptcy is when somebody is really having hard financial times, not able to pay their bills.
At regular intervals, all the school-age children take standardized state tests to ensure they're on track.
It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Thursday, August 11th. So it's been a hot minute since we have talked about Anna Duggar, and I was actually perusing over on Gospel Light Baptist Church. So this is the brand new church that the Duggars are attending, and I found out in the last hour or so that Jason Duggar does some of the leadings of songs. He was involved in Vacation Bible School, and he was leading the choir, or he was singing and leading the congregation for singing one day.
Each and every one of you are here today. We're going to go ahead and stand, and we're going to start singing At the Cross, Alas, and Did My Savior Bleed.
I also learned that the Duggar kids, including Josh and Anna's kids, are part of the children's choir at Gospel Light Baptist Church. So their new church is all about Splash, and I was told by people in the area that the Duggars are helping this church sort of branch out by helping them host bigger events and put a flashier presence on social media with the help of them. And they've had the Duggars with their helicopters and other hookups help them expand and grow their church, which I'm told will be a destruction in the end, because my source says Jim Bob Duggar allegedly blows up every church he gets involved in. The new church allows women to wear pants, at least some of the women in this church wear pants, and it looks to be a little bit more modern and less strict than the one that they were previously at. And if you're wondering, Anna Duggar's brother is also there too. So I spotted Nathan and Hannah in the congregation at their 4th of July event. Which got me onto the latest on Anna Duggar. So a lot of you are like, why is Anna still with Josh? Well, I'll tell you why. They have brainwashed Anna to believe that Josh is innocent. Now, I told you that Anna was trying to pin this on other people in the months leading up to Josh's trial, and then even afterwards was blaming other people for what Josh was doing, including there's more to the story post that she put on her social media, which is still linked in her link in bio on her Instagram. And I was told recently that they have come up with a brand new explanation for how they got it wrong in the trial and how everyone was lying, and the top experts in the United States forensic team did not understand that remote access could 100% happen with the Linux partition, completely ignoring the fact that Josh told the officers they would find a partition on the computer, completely ignoring the fact that he told them that they would find the Tor browser on the computer. And where was the Tor browser found, you guys? Behind the partition.
Have you ever used, or do any of these electronics currently on the property have any of those types of software downloaded onto them?
Yes.
Okay. Which devices are we talking about?
Probably all of them.
All. So, and I just want to make sure, again, we're not here to put words in your mouth. So when you say all, and I'm thinking,
well, okay, I won't want to say all, because I'm going to say the laptop, the phone, and the computer in the office.
Okay. So laptop in the RV.
Yes.
Okay. The phone, your phone, I
believe, to the best of my knowledge.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Again,
I don't know if they actually all have them.
We're not here to pin you in a corner on any of your answers.
Right.
The laptop that's possibly on the laptop in the RV.
Right.
Possibly on the phone that you had on you, right? Your phone, not Randall's.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then
I don't know about Randall's.
Well, yeah, we're gonna have a conversation very similar to what we were having with you when we're done. If he wants to talk to us. And then possibly peer-to-peer networks on the HP that's in the...
Yes.
Okay.
These are the tiny details that they ignore, but it was found on all of his products, and it was also found on his phone. They found the peer-to-peer file sharing network on the Linux partition and on his phone. So it's almost weird. It's like, why would they put the partition and then all that stuff on his other side of that computer, right? Well, now, this is the message that I recently got from my source. They said, Branham testified that you can't remotely access Josh's computer through the partition. Now, I don't know that it was Clint that actually testified to that. I believe it was James Futrell, who is the director of the Department of Justice specific unit that investigates these types of crimes. And they did say that. They said that the way that this hard drive had been set up, you cannot access it without being there. You have to, it's like you switch it on when you turn it on. You have to pick the hard drive when you boot up the computer. And it says, Jim Bob has people convinced that it's not hard to remote access onto a partition and remote access onto a computer. And basically there's talk that this might be what is used in Josh's appeal. So they're going to try to maybe convince the appellate court that you can remote access. It is possible. Everyone else is lying. Even though James Futrell testified in court that, and he showed screenshots of how it works for setup. And again, let's ignore the fact, the elephant in the room, that when Josh told the investigators that they would find the dark web on their computer, it was on what side? The partition side. It's almost like he put the partition there, even though he claims he didn't. And it's almost like the same software exists on both his computer and his laptop and his phone. Weird coincidence. Regardless, they are now trying to convince their friends that the reason why he's innocent is because everyone at trial got it wrong and you actually can remote access. And the experts didn't know that. And they do. And this is being used to convince not only Anna, but all of their friends that have doubts. So the talk is that the experts that testified didn't do their right job. And they're trying to convince people, even though they know that Josh is guilty, mind you. Multiple people have told me that Jim Bob allegedly believes that he's guilty, knows that he's guilty, but it's all a plan to keep favor in the community so that people believe that Josh is innocent, so that it doesn't tarnish their name and that it was some sort of conspiracy set up. Still covering for Josh, allegedly, all these months later, while his son sits in prison, mind you. He is in Seagoville, and he'll be in Seagoville until 2032, according to their website for his release date. So they're using this new method. So before, I told you it's Caleb Williams remote accessed into the computer, and that's why everything was found on his computer. Now they're using, it's not that hard. Anyone can do it. It's totally possible. The experts are wrong. And Anna, this is why he's innocent. And the sad part is that knowing how ignorant they keep the women in this group, they're buying on Anna to trust them so that she believes everything that she's being fed. And all of their ignorant friends that refuse to look in the rational world of this world because they believe they're better than people, in my opinion, and they're of God's world, they don't want to associate with mere mortals like us. So they want to believe that there's this huge conspiracy, and they're using that to keep Anna in a situation where she can't then think about the fact that her husband is guilty. So she's got all these people in her life telling her flat out, whoa, it's time to eat, you guys. It's time to eat. Dogs are eating. So she's got all these people in her life telling her, of course, Anna, it's super easy to remote access. And it's Caleb Williams did this, even though it makes no sense that Caleb Williams did this. Why would someone remote access Josh's computer to watch this content? Because they would still have to watch it through their own computer, right? They can't just like visually see it. The screen would have to be on their own computer, which would then, I would assume, leave a fragment on their own. So even if they're remote accessing, they would still have to watch it. You can't just like, have you ever remote accessed into a computer? The screen is then on your computer. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. It's just a ridiculous process, and it's stupid. It doesn't make sense. But they rely on people's ignorance and unwillingness to ask questions, and then they use people's distrust of the government to imply that it's some sort of government conspiracy because the Duggars are outspoken Christians and they don't want the Duggars' agenda to become part of the public mainstream. And so it's the government trying to get back at the Duggars. Even though this whole thing started under Donald Trump, who they love. I'm just saying. So my source said, with the way that the chatter is going, expect for them to try to fight the remote access aspect of it, which I guess I would be partially. I don't know if maybe they would try to say that the testimony was improper or something. I don't know. I think because on appeals you have to have something that was like wrong with this trial. Something specifically that within the rules of the was defunct. They tried this remote access in trial and the jury didn't believe it. So I don't know how you argue that on the appellate side, really. But more importantly, they're using this lie to brainwash their friends and to keep Anna with Josh. And I don't know why they want Anna to stay so bad. Like, why would you want your daughter-in-law to stay in a relationship with a man that isn't going to be around for the next 10 years? And just because why? You don't want a divorce to happen in your family? I'm pretty sure that your family's name is already in the trash because of what Josh has done and what Jim Bob has allegedly done by covering. That's just my opinion. So the Duggars are brainwashing their friends, and it's continuing, even though, as I was told by many of my sources, that the Duggars believe he's guilty, 100%, but they don't want the public to know that they believe he's guilty. It's so stupid. Like, what would it take for Jim Bob to actually acknowledge that my son is guilty? Like, what does it hurt? And something else I was thinking about is all these church guys that they hang out with, they spend a whole lot of time talking about the LGBTQ plus and how they're the worst people in the world. I am yet to find a single sermon by any of their friends denouncing Josh and crimes against children. None. I haven't found a single one outside of Jeremy, which wasn't even really like he did talk about it. But besides that, like, that's it. Nobody has said a word about the crimes that men perpetrate under the guise of religion on children and then use religion to hide behind so that you don't think that they're bad people. They're always pointing fingers at the people outside, but they're never willing to reflect from within when it comes to these kinds of crimes. And they've already shown through the investigation in the Southern Baptist Convention, which included investigations into the Independent Fundamentalist Baptist, because they outed like over, I don't even know, hundreds of pastors affiliated with either the SBC or the IFB that have done things to children. So they don't want to do anything about those types of sermons. They want to point fingers at the gay people. It's their fault. But let's not talk about the SOs and the child SOs in our own community. It's sad. It's just sad. And they'll forgive them as long as they say they're sorry, which is another. There's some crimes, in my opinion, that are not forgivable, and that's one of them. You will never get me to forgive someone that's done that to a child, period. What are your thoughts about this? Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.